Hello, Game of Thrones fans. Andrew Dowd coming at you. I've done a breakdown of Season 8, Episode 1, which I am dubbing the Grey Reunion, because of all the wonderful reunions that happened and all the murky grayness between relationships with people. I think it was fantastic. But we're not getting into another breakdown. What I want to talk about is some theories that could happen, could come to fruition, or may not. But I think there's a lot to talk about. There's some theories that are conflicting, but I just want to talk them and get those out there because I want to hear what everyone else has to say. So, first theory: will ice be reforged? The ancestral Valyrian sword of the Stark House that was broken down and reforged into Oathbreaker and Widow's Wail, which are now finally back in the same spot, thanks to Jaime and Brienne. And so what I found most interesting is that Gendry, being the armorist, was the protege of the only armorist in King's Landing that can rework Valyrian steel, which was shown in, I believe it was Season 2, after this was broken down. So what I found really interesting is that all these players are in the same spot. All these players. I really think, I say players of these swords and Gendry being there, I think it's a potential for the reforging of ice. And does that reforged sword become Lightbringer? Lightbringer being the sword of the Azor Ahai prophecy that takes down the Night King. It's a good question. There's other theories out there that Lightbringer, the sword of Azor Ahai, is actually the sword Dawn, which was the house sword for the greatest sword in Westeros at the time of Robert's Rebellion, and was actually in possession by Ned Stark at the Tower of Joy when he was beside Lyanna Stark's deathbed. It was made from a comet that fell to Earth, which I found kind of poetic as well, because this whole series was started based on the red comet streaking across the sky and the dawn of a new era of magic. So there's a little bit of poetry in there. And, who has that sword? Potentially it's Beric Dondarrion. He's got a flaming sword. And potentially Ned Stark gave that to Beric Dondarrion to hunt down the mountain. So I find that that's a possibility as well. But the other possibility is the ancestral sword of House Tarly, Heartsbane, which is currently in Sam's possession. And just the name in itself, Heartsbane, it alludes to the prophecy of Azor Ahai, the prince that was promised, because Azor Ahai was actually a Targaryen who, in order to try and defeat the Night King, plunged his sword into the heart of his wife and love of his life, and she sacrificed himself in order to use the magic to make the sword burst into flames and ergo turned into Lightbringer. So there's a theme there that in order to win, there has to be devastating heartbreak and sacrifice involved. So is there an allusion to what might happen with Jon and Daenerys? We don't know. We shall see. I honestly think, or I honestly hope, that actually Azor Ahai is not Jon. I honestly hope that Azor Ahai is really the Hound. Personally, I just think it'd be great if, just before killing the Night King, someone calls him a cunt. I think that would be awesome. But, the prophecy of Azor Ahai is he was born from fire. And, obviously his face being punched into fire, he's a fear of fire. There's a redemption story there. But he's also starting to see things in the fire, in the flame. So the Lord of Light is obviously imbued some kind of power to the Hound He's big enough to take down most people, except for Brienne. However, I think there's a lot of poetry there. If there is a prophecy that he has to plunge a sword into the heart of somebody he loves, is it the Mountain? Is it his brother? Because the Hound doesn't really love anybody. He thinks everyone's a cunt. But that's just my hope, only because I love the Hound. The other option is maybe he had to plunge it into his new best friend, Tormund. I really hope that doesn't happen, because I think there may have been a little bit of foreshadowing with Tormund saying, "My eyes have always been blue," or I've always had blue eyes, to the brother of the Black when they were at the Glover stronghold. And they think he's a white. I think there's some foreshadowing that maybe Tormund's going to become a white. I really hope not. But if he does, it would have to be the Hound that takes him down. So, if that's the case, maybe the Hound loves Tormund. I don't know. We'll see. And will he have to plunge his sword into his heart? I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that's one theory. Another theory is, who is the Night King? There's a number of theories on what really happened to Rhaegar Targaryen, because his body was never found at the Battle of the Trident. And there's been a number of theories that Rhaegar Targaryen actually is a faceless man, and that he actually is Jaqen, who trained Arya. I think there's a lot of interesting evidence to training Arya, and Arya becoming who she is, in order to identify the faceless man that's currently in the midst at Winterfell. And I think there's been a lot of theories that Rhaegar Targaryen is actually Littlefinger and has been playing Littlefinger for all these years. But now that Littlefinger is dead, did he switch bodies? Like potentially with the girl in the alleyway at Winterfell, giving her a coin, potentially a Braavosi coin, and Villa Margulis, all that good stuff. Is he still alive? That's the question. Do I think he's a faceless man? I think it would be really cool if he was. But I have a personal theory that the Night King is actually Rhaegar Targaryen. And that's why he never kills Jon Snow. He's had multiple times chances to kill Jon Snow, and he never has taken it. Now, some will argue that in the Frozen Lake, when Jon was surrounded, or the Magnificent Seven were surrounded, that they were just waiting for the dragon to show up. So, but that in itself, I find interesting that he knows of dragons. He knows that the dragons are going to come. There's a little bit of precognition there. But he does need a dragon in order to break down the wall, because the wall can only be destroyed by magic. How does he know all this stuff? I don't know. It's in the White Handbook. But there is a legend of succession for the Night King, in that every 100th baby that is sacrificed to the Whites, as the Crasters did, and little Sam, Gilly's baby, is the 100th baby. Technically, if that legend is true, that little Sam was to become the next Night King. So there is a succession there, all stemming from the original first Night King, which was the 13th commander of the Night Watch, who fell in love with a White Walker, and then went north of the wall and became the Night King. There's a lot of themes around love and devastation and sacrifice in order to win the day. But there's also the massive themes of penance and punishment for sins of the past. So there's a lot of theories there. I think it'd be really cool if Rhaegar was the Night King. That's why he never killed Jon. But also maybe explains why he is going south of the wall, why he's going to Winterfell. And is that to see the tomb of Lyanna Stark and potentially raise her from the dead using his white powers? God, that sounded terrible, didn't it? Using his magic from north of the wall. We'll say it that way. Anyway, lots of good theories there. I don't know where to go from there. There's so many more theories that we could talk about, but I'm going to stop there for now. Hope you enjoyed, and be safe in the long night.